Hey, Kevin here, Mr. DIY Dork from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you a really cool and fun way to make some extra money by flipping Craigslist furniture my way. So check this out, I think you're going to like it. Alright, so now we're on video 3 of my little video series here about flipping furniture. In this one I want to talk about the makeover. Now the makeover is going to be kind of dependent upon your skill level, what you want to make, what people in the area are willing to buy, but at the same time you want to stay on trend. Or you could just make pieces that are timeless. They're always going to look great. So let me talk about timeless real quick. In my mind, timeless is like black or white furniture, maybe medium to dark blues, medium to dark reds, creams, you know, just kind of standard, sort of neutral, you know, colors that will look good with any other decor they put in a room. And in my mind, even distressed furniture kind of falls there because it looks kind of antique-y, and antiques never go out of style. So even something like that could be timeless. And then on the other end, if you're not talking paints, you could talk wood stains. And you know, different colors of wood stain are always going to look great. And if you mix them, it's a cool way to kind of update it, make it kind of modern, but then it always looks great. If you saw my mid-century dresser makeover video, I actually painted the outsides of the dressers white, and I did 2 different colors of wood stain. And let me tell you, the people that bought them absolutely fell in love. They loved it, and I had a lot of interest in those dressers. So something like that is going to do really well for you. Now, if you just want to kind of go with what's on trend because you think that's, you know, a little more fun, and it always kind of changes throughout time, you want to figure out what's hot right now. And let me real quick talk about trends. To me, a trend is something that's going to look great for, you know, several years. We're talking like 5, 6, 7 years. And not necessarily a fad, which could die out within weeks or within months, or maybe this time next year it's outdated already. So you want to stay away from fads, but stay on trend so that you have a bigger audience of people that want to buy. So to figure out what's on trend, there's a few places you can look. If you go online, you can look at design blogs, craft blogs. They always link to each other and then out to a bazillion other sites. And you can even look at Etsy or Pinterest, which on Etsy they sell stuff that's hot right now, and on Pinterest people show pictures of stuff they wish they had that was, you know, real hot right now. So those are great places to look. If you want to go kind of old school, you can go to the magazine rack at the store and look at like the DIY magazines and the design magazines and the house magazines. They're going to show you what's on trend right now, because if they put stuff that no one wanted, they're not going to sell magazines. So they are definitely making sure that what they put in their magazines is on trend. Now you can also go to stores that sell furniture, or sometimes that sell furniture and clothing, and they are going to have what's on trend as well. I'm thinking of like a Pier 1. They're going to have colors and patterns, and I hate how that smells in there, but you know, the style of furniture and all that is going to be what's popular, or they wouldn't make any money. And then on the other end, you go to a store like Target, and in their furniture section, they're going to have stuff that's pretty trendy. Which sometimes they're kind of on the fad level because they change their stuff out like probably quicker than the seasons change, so you got to be a little careful there. But even with their clothing and like basic furnitures, they're gonna have what's on trend. So you can go to places like that because it's the same thing. They're spending a lot of money to put the stuff on their shelves to make a whole lot more money if people buy it. If no one bought it, they're not making money. So they're gonna make sure they have what's on trend. So that's just some real basic places to kind of figure out, you know, what's in right now, so you know what to do in your piece. So once you kind of know and have found some ideas of what you want to do, let me show you what kind of tools and supplies and materials you're going to need. So what I have here is a little quick video that explains just some of the real basics of what you're going to need to be able to do your furniture. So check that out. And then when that's done, I'm going to show you how I actually redid the coffee table that I bought for this video series, and I'll just real quick show you what I did, and I'll let you know what it looks like. So check that out. All right, so when you're ready to actually make over your piece, I just want to show you some of the real basics of tools and supplies and materials you're going to want on hand. Now, first of all, you see I got my table here, and I actually have a drop cloth, and I also put a cheap $1 shower curtain underneath, and that way if anything leaks through the drop cloth, that will catch it. Okay, and then now we got just kind of a, you know, bare bones basics of what you're going to want. I recommend having some kind of drill on hand so you can do any kind of drilling or power screw driving. And then an adjustable screwdriver will work fine. And a hammer always comes in handy, an adjustable wrench, and a pair of pliers. And that's enough to do most repairs or fixes. Like let's say on this table right here, that screw, let's say it was loose and this leg was wobbling. These tools will be plenty to tighten that back up, and so it's ready to go. Okay, so since I'm going to be repainting this, this slick finish, the paint's not going to stick to that. Plus, it's so ugly, I don't want it to show through. So I want to get rid of this blonde finish, and then even this graphic here that's starting to chip off anyway. So I recommend getting a hand sander. And I really recommend getting a half decent orbital sander, the kind that spins. And then at a minimum, at least 2 grits of sandpaper, a fine grit and a rough grit. The rough grit will get rid of the finish and the, like the painted graphic there, and then the smooth grit will smooth it out so it's ready for paint. And also an extension cord, a good green one with 3-prong, or even just a cheap 2-prong one like this will come in handy as well. Now in some pieces, before you start painting, you're going to want to tape off parts, so like a 1-inch tape and a 2-inch tape usually is enough to get what you need. And then when you're actually ready to start painting, I recommend getting a little tray and like a 4-inch smooth foam roller to get a real smooth finish on big areas. And then get a good handheld brush, a 3-inch or something like that. You probably don't want 4, it's a little big, but like 2.5, 3 inches would be fine. This one's Purdy brand, which works really good. It leaves a smoother finish and the bristles don't come out like the cheap $3 and $4 brushes you can get. And then I also recommend just a little set of like detailed touch-up brushes when you have little small areas you need to do. Okay, then when it's time to paint, I recommend using a paint and a primer. And I use a good color blocking primer. This one's water-based, which works great for like a distressed paint job I'm doing here, or even like if I'm gonna paint these white, or sand these white dressers down and repaint them white, it would work fine. But when you have a dark piece like that and you want to sand it down, let's say I want to paint that thing white, a lot of times you sand it down, not all the finish will come off, so an oil-based primer will work great for that. But for the most part, for most projects, water-based is totally fine. And then for paint, I just recommend regular paint like you find in a hardware store, like you paint walls with. And I really recommend the little cheap sample paints. They're about $3-4 bucks. And one of those is plenty to do this entire table. You can get any color you want. Every once in a while you spray paint for things, but for the most part, I brush and roll on just regular acrylic water-based paint. Okay, and then finally, once your paint job's finished, you want to protect it. So there's different ways to do that. Put on clear coat. They have a wipe on oil-based here. I have a brush on water-based, and I even have a wipe on wax, which I've used in a lot of my projects. It's really easy to use. That way, once your paint job's finished, it won't get stained or scratched. So that's it. That's the real bare bones basics. So now, what I'd like to do is I'll just show you real quick how I refinish this, and show you how I transform it from this kind of outdated table to a really cool updated paint job so I can be able to sell it. So here's the table, what it looked like before with the old stain and the kind of outdated graphic. So I sanded all that off with the power sander as best I could, and then I even got in the small areas with just a piece of sandpaper by hand, and I wiped it clean. And then I added some dark homemade stains just to darken the top a little bit. And I slapped on some blue paint to the base, and then I sanded it to rough it up and give it that distressed look. Then I added a grungy glaze to make it look kind of dirty and old. And then I wiped it so that it actually just kind of highlighted those areas. Then I striped off the top for black and white stripes and painted those. And then I sanded those, not quite as much as the bottom. And then I protected it all with a coat of wax, and that was it. Right, and here's the table all finished. It's got it updated with a cool distressed paint job. You can see the black and white stripes there, and even the edges roughed up a little bit. And then the grungy blue base looks really cool. I know this will sell really well. I actually sold one like this before, except it had a pink bottom, but very similar to this. So anyway, in the next video, what I'm going to do is show you some of the tricks I've learned for listing on Craigslist with pricing and pictures and the time of day and all that good stuff. So check that out next.